Well, hello, it's Ed Kaminsky, and we're checking in here at our latest renovation project in Redondo Beach. So excuse the noise, might be a hammer or two in the background, but I want to introduce you to Bob Cayton from Lawyers Title. And every time we have a real estate transaction, you buy or sell a home, this title insurance bill shows up on your closing statement. What is it all about? So I wanted to bring just a basic question to you, Bob. I mean, why do we get title insurance? Why does a homeowner get title insurance on a property?
Well, thank you, Ed, for being here. I appreciate that. The largest investment that someone will make in their lifetime is buying a residence.
Sure.
So I can't stress enough to protect that investment. And title insurance does that. Okay.
So it's protecting specifically what when you buy a house? What do you get protection from?
It's protecting the owner's rights of the property, that no one can come and challenge their ownership.
So titles, you own the property. So I guess from a layman's explanation, when you get title to the property, it says you own it. So are you saying that you're going to ensure that I really own this property, somebody else doesn't when I get it? Is that part of it?
Yes, sir. We're going to do research on the county records, make sure, eliminate most of the risk, and then when you take title to the property and you get your policy, that no one has the right to make that claim. You own this property.
Okay, so you're going to safeguard us from that, so someone can't knock on my door and say, I own this house, here's a piece of paper that says I own it. I call you up and send you after them and say...
Absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely.
Perfect. So I've seen a lot of different things show up on title reports, like easements, things like that. You know, matter of fact, I literally got an email this morning on the way over here, and a client says, hey, on my preliminary title policy, which is the document they get before they own the home, right?
Right.
What's the difference between a preliminary title policy and a title policy?
The preliminary title policy is a search of all the public records pertaining to that property. We go back, anything that hits the property that's a public record, we print out on a form which is called the preliminary title report.
All right, perfect. So the first thing he says, he reads this, and he said, as an exception to the insurance is easements, liens, or encumbrances, or claims thereof not shown on public records. And he said, well, Ed, if it's not showing on public records, isn't that what I'm getting title insurance for, to make sure that some guy doesn't have an easement to drive through my property and I don't know about it? Wouldn't the title insurance company protect me of that?
Absolutely. What the prelim shows right there is that those are blanket exceptions. But what we issue here in the state of California is what's called the Homeowners Extended Coverage Policy. And through the cover sheet of the protection, it does cover off-record matters.
Okay, so if I get the homeowners extended policy,
right,
then I am protected on this.
Yes.
Which is opposite of what this says.
Right, it's a default policy.
Okay.
Meaning that everything goes the Alta homeowners policy unless otherwise stated by the owner of the property, the purchaser of the property, or the real estate agent involved.
So what's the one word I need to look for in my policy at escrow before I close to make sure I have the right policy?
The Alta homeowners policy.
Alta homeowners policy.
And I would say 100% of the time, that's exactly what you get unless otherwise stated.
Okay. All right. Very good. Now, I know there's two different types of policies. I think a buyer pays for one, seller pays for one, right?
Right.
What is the difference between those two?
Well, the seller actually pays to insure the buyer that he has marketable rights and owns the property from a go-forward basis, that none of the things that happened in the past will come back to haunt him and take that property away.
So when a buyer gets a loan on the property, the lender requires an additional title insurance policy that the buyer pays for. What is that one for?
The lender wants to make sure that their position of their lien on that property is in force and effect.
Okay. So I understand what you're saying now, why I get the title insurance. It's to make sure I own the property. The lender wants to make sure they're in first position. But tell me, what other reasons should I or could I call my title insurance company after I own the home to protect me? What are a couple things that they protect me on that maybe I'm not aware of?
Well, first and foremost, the basic one that I get a lot of calls from is forgery.
Forgery.
Someone knocks on the door and says, hey, I own this property. And they show them a document.
Okay, so that one's obvious.
Right.
But what are some of the less obvious ones that title insurance companies will protect me of, that maybe something comes up 6 months, a year, 2 years from now that I should be aware of?
Especially on when you do a lot of development like yourself and redoing it, you're either expanding walls, expanding structures.
Okay.
And sometimes you're building over something that you didn't know existed, like an encroachment. 6 months later, somebody knocks on your door and said, you know, you built on my land.
So encroachment, in other words, what if we determine later, I do a survey and I find out the guy's next to me's garage is on my land? Do I have some type of protection?
If you have suffered a loss, you definitely have protection.
If I suffer loss.
Right. If you feel that it is in any way devalued the property because of that encroachment and you've suffered a loss, definitely call your title insurance company.
And they'll help me collect on that?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. Anything else I should know about title insurance?
Well, when choosing title insurance, make sure you choose the best, obviously, and Lawyers Title happens to be one of the financially most sound title companies in the business and can back their policies.
Okay, so when choosing a title company, you look for their financial strength, much
Absolutely.
like a bank or anything like that.
Right, or anything like you're getting, you know, health insurance, car insurance, and stuff like that. It's very important. This is a one-time fee, and it's probably the biggest and best way for that one-time fee to benefit you in the future, to cover your asset, the biggest asset of your life.
That's great information. Thanks for
coming
over.
Thank you very much for your time.
You got it.